Hey there! Let's animate a cat head using sprite position, rotation and scaling in Godot. Create a new 2D scene and drag the cat head sprites into the scene. I separated the ears, cheeks and eyes from the head, so now I can animate them individually. Select the head, then press and hold the keyboard key V to change the pivot point of the head. The head moves from the neck, so set the pivot point of the head on the neck. The ears, cheeks and eyes are all part of the head. So let's make them children of the head. Ctrl click to select these sprites in the scene hierarchy and drag them onto the head. The child nodes move and animate along with the parent node. So now when we animate the head sprite, the other sprites will follow along. Let's move the left ear into place on top of the head. We want the ear to appear behind the head, so in the inspector, click the visibility tab and check the option Show Behind Parent. I want the ear to rotate around the head, so I will press and hold the keyboard key V to move the ear pivot point onto the head. To test if the ear rotates correctly, I will select the rotate tool and rotate the ear. That looks about right. And now I will move the other ear and cheeks into place and test their pivot points the same way. I can move both eye sprites at the same time by Ctrl clicking these sprites in the scene hierarchy. And now we're ready to animate the head. We select the root node, right click it and select Add Child Node. In the search filter we type in Animation and then double click on the animation player to add it to our scene. Select the animation player and click the animation button to create a new animation. I'll name this animation Idle. The animation length is 1 second. Let's change this to 2 seconds. We press the loop icon to loop the animation and the autoplay icon to auto start the animation when this scene is used. We want to add an animation keyframe at the start of the timeline, so let's move the timeline to the beginning. The head is the main sprite, so let's animate that first. We select the head. At the top of the screen, we can select the properties we want to animate. These are the location, rotation and scale. The key icon adds the property to the animation player. Let's animate a bouncy head using the scale property. We deselect the location property and select the scale property. Then press the key icon to add the head scale property to the animation player. The animation player automatically adds the first keyframe to our timeline. Because we want the animation to loop, the first and last keyframe must be the same. We will move the timeline to the end and press the key icon at the top of the screen again. Now let's move the timeline to the middle to add a different middle keyframe. Because the scale property is selected at the top of the screen, the animation player records any changes to the head scale. So let's go to the inspector, select transform and change the Y scale from 1 to 0.95 for a slight head bounce. Then press the key icon to add this keyframe to the animation player. Now when we press play, we see the head bounce. Even the ears and cheeks scale along with the head because they are children of the head. That's why a correct hierarchy is important when animating. The animation looks robotic. That's because the current interpolation mode is set to linear. We can change this to cubic for a more smooth animation. Yeah, that's better! Next, let's animate the ear. We move the timeline back to the beginning and then select the left ear. To animate the rotation of the ear, we deselect the scale property. Next, select the location property and click the key icon to add the ear location keyframe to the animation timeline. And again, for a seamless animation loop, make sure that the first and last keyframe in the timeline are the same. Now for the middle keyframe, let's select the rotation tool. Rotate the ear down a bit, then press the key icon to add this rotation as a keyframe to the animation. When we press play, we can see that the ear scales along with the head, while also rotating itself around the head. Nice! Again, we can set the interpolation mode to cubic for a smoother ear rotation animation. Now, let's do the same for the right ear and the two cheeks. I think it's more fun to have the cheek rotate in the opposite direction of the ear. And now we have animated the head using both the scale and rotation properties. Finally, let's animate the eyes using the position property. We can animate both eyes at the same time by Ctrl clicking them both in the scene hierarchy. We deselect the rotation property and select the location property, then we click the key icon. Now the animation player creates keyframes for both eyes at the same time. For the middle keyframe, let's select the Move tool and move both eyes up a bit. Then click the key icon to add this middle keyframe. And that's it! We've animated the head using location, rotation and scaling. So that's how the animation player works in Godot. If you like this tutorial, please let YouTube know by hitting the like button so other people can find this tutorial as well. If you have suggestions for other tutorials, let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching and happy animating!